in between practices, again, much like we do in the spring. So we'll see. That was a long answer there, Larry, but we'll see how Terry feels. But he's back out there at full strength today.
Thanks.
Next question is John Hagel.
Mark, any update on Joey Gatewood's waiver request and what do you expect his availability to be?
Yeah, John, I have not heard yet on that. We had turned in everything necessary we expect an answer here relatively soon. And I don't think it's appropriate for me to speculate on what I expect at this point in time.
Okay, our next question is Kent Spencer.
Yeah, Mark, as you guys actually start practicing and really ramping things up, do you feel like the players will kind of let loose and play with clear minds, or do you think that what could happen with college football will kind of hover until you guys actually get to that first game week and play a game?
I think these are different times. I don't think there's any denying that. Just in our routine and the policies and the procedures that we have in place are most definitely different. It's hard for me to answer that question until I get into this camp and to see how it goes. But there's certainly some things that are different. What the mindset is of each individual player or the team as we move forward, that'd be hard for me to answer at this point. I know to date that our players have done everything we've asked them to do. They've worked exceptionally hard. They want more. They want to practice. They want to play. We're going to get that opportunity to go out there with an official practice this afternoon, and we will see where it goes from there.
Okay, next question comes from Aaron Gershon. Aaron?
Hey, Mark, hope you're doing well. Just a quick question. How much does it help in this situation that your team has continuity and having a lot of veterans compared to some of the other teams in the league and just across the country still planning to play right now?
I'd like to believe it helps. Our team, we've worked hard for the past 7 years at developing leadership within our program. And, this is another example of an organization, of a program that I want to be player-led. And, this group of guys that are older have certainly set the tone. And hopefully that'll continue to trickle down to the rest of our team. But it does help that we have a veteran group and they're anxious to play.
Okay, next question is from WDRB Sports.
Coach, in your opinion, is it better for the players to have a chance to play with the risk that maybe everything ends after a game or two than maybe a situation like the Big Ten where there's no possibility of playing?
I don't really enjoy speculation. The situation is what it is. I have faith and confidence in the decision makers and the professionals that have looked into this. I know just from our perspective, we've done everything humanly possible to protect these young men and do the best we can at keeping them as safe as possible, and we're going to continue to do that. What the Big Ten did and what their decisions are, I really haven't spent any time really thinking about that. It is what it is, and we're prepared to play, and we're excited about that opportunity.
All right, next is Dick Gabriel. Dick, go ahead, please.
Hi, Mark. As you said, this is just a really different time for everybody. And when you go on the road, you won't be facing those massive crowds that you ordinarily do in the SEC. And of course, you won't have a crowd at your home field. But how much, if at all, do you think that'll literally level playing fields, both home and away?
Again, it'll be different. There's no question about that. How it affects it one way or the other, we have no idea until we get into it and get playing. I know we're going to work exceptionally hard to have our team prepared. We're guaranteed 10 opportunities at this point, and we're going to work, around the clock and have a relentless pursuit to have our teams prepared each and every week.
All right, next question is from Kentucky Sports Radio. Go ahead.
Mark, there has been a lot of news. It feels like every day. Will they play? Won't they play? Will they play? Won't they play? What's the kind of mental strain on the team? How have they reacted to different instances like that? And how do you keep them focused whenever it feels like there's something different every day?
Our team has been very consistent. That's not to say individually, if you polled each and every one of our guys, they would have different answers to what you just asked me. I'm sure there's probably been some frustration, some disappointment, excitement at times. You have to ask each and every one of them. I know collectively as a group, I try to communicate with them often, and I want to hear what they have to say. And in my conversations with them, they've been very matter of fact. They're trying to do the things that we've asked them to do for safety. They're trying to take care of themselves. They're preparing the best they can. And as a consensus, they're just basically like, Coach, we're ready to play. We're ready to play some football. We want to play, and that's where we're at. So that's what I have to go by. I've asked them as a group. I've asked them in leadership groups, and I've asked them to come talk to me individually if they've had any concern at all, or if I need to address anything with them. And to this point, it's been very clear that they want to adhere to the measures and the protocols that we have in place, but they want to play.
Hey, Coach, had one texted in from Keith Farmer, talk about the possibility of having a catwalk and also prospect of having limited numbers of fans in the stands.
Honestly, that's something that I'm not prepared to answer at this point because things change every day. I think we all know during this crisis, the approach of our leadership at this university and the leadership of our conference is to not get too far out in front of our skis. I like to say that personally, but it's been the approach of this university and the league is to gather as much information as humanly possible and to wait as long as possible before we make any bold predictions. So I'll wait to answer that at a further time, and I'm sure our university will address that in time. Right now, we have a lot of work to do between now and the first game.
Next question is from Michael Bennett. Michael?
Hey, Mark. Good to see you again. There's been a lot of speculation as far as the teams that when you go away not having home field advantage. Do you feel that way too? Because you're going to have a brutal schedule when it comes to playing at Alabama, playing at Florida, playing at Auburn. So do you feel like that's going to be a positive for your team with the lack of fans there for the opposing team?
I really can't answer that because this is unprecedented. And so the energy will affect somebody. Hopefully it won't affect our team. It'll be about our preparation, about being ready to play. Again, I go back to my statement earlier that we're going to have a relentless approach to have our team ready to play each and every week. I believe in our players. And as much as we absolutely love playing in a home environment that's electric, that's exciting, that we can't wait to get back to that someday. But as for now, we have to play under the conditions that we have set forth at home and away. So that's really a hard question to answer because we don't know. I know I'm going to have our team, prepared to play each and every week, whether it's at home or away.
All right. Next question is Fred Cowell. Fred, go ahead, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Coach Fred Cowgill from WLKY in Louisville. What is your level of optimism, personally, that the season will start on time on the 26th?
I'm personally optimistic that we're going to get started on time. And, again, this is a very fluid situation, and we'll take it day by day. We're excited to get out there to practice today. We certainly have a lot of tests between now and the first game that need to happen, throughout our conference, and we'll do the best we can, to keep everybody as safe as humanly possible.
Next question is John Clay. Go ahead, John.
Mark, with playing a conference-only schedule and not having one or two non-conference games before you get right into conference play, how's that going to affect your preparation, especially with developing your young players?
It can only, challenge us even more. But it is what it is, John. We, as we work through camp, getting every one of our players a lot of reps and getting them prepared. I do feel like this is the deepest team since I've been here. We are a deep team with some experience that has to help when you're playing 10 conference games because we all know how difficult that'll be. We know how taxing that'll be on our players and our coaches. And, so it'll be a real challenge, but we do have a deep team and we have a mature team that has to help us. So we'll see where it goes. But like General Patton said, and believe me, nobody misquote me, I know I'm no general. And I certainly don't want to compare football to our military, who I have such great respect for, but we can learn from past leaders. And General Patton said, I am a soldier. I fight where I'm told, and I will win where I fight. And, that's going to be our approach, just prepare the team each and every week to be ready to go, to be ready to prepare to win. And we're going to take that approach every day.
Next question is Gary Graves. Gary, go ahead, please.
Mark, even with the maturity and depth that you have, how much has all of this changed your approach going into the practice as opposed to, say, if you had a normal schedule? How much more compacted is it for the veterans, for preparation for veterans as well as the newcomers?
I didn't hear the beginning of that. You cut out on me a little bit. Tell me that again.
No, I said with all the depth and maturity that you have, how much has this changed your approach, as opposed to, say, under a normal schedule where you would have had spring practice?
Well, you've heard me talk in years past about, our team and building this team over the years and in, being physical enough and having the mental and physical capacity to handle more. With this schedule this year, each and every year I try to continue to build on that. But also with the schedule the way it is, gives us a little bit more flexibility in this way. Early on in camp, we're going to have a day off in between every practice. That's not normal, because we have more weeks to prepare. So we have the time and we have some mandatory days off. That'll help us. That'll help us push that practice time. It'll help us push the number of reps and increase that capacity because our team's more mature and more physical. We have more depth. As the program grows, we have the ability to do that. And with the schedule being the way it is, it'll give us the ability to do that. So hopefully that will benefit us through the course of the time leading up to the first game. I can't call it camp no more because it's really not camp. We're in season, so it's that in itself is different.
Derek Terry, you're up next. Go ahead.
Hey, Mark. D1 Council for this season changes. Well, they recommended that the red shirt rule goes up to 50% of the team's games this year. How much do you think that would help with depth if there are any issues that come about? And does that change any how you'll go through with the young guys in camp, knowing that maybe they could play up to half the team's games?
Well, I don't know if we'll ever have a year like we had last year. As you know, that rule, we really utilized that rule to the best of our ability because we had the ability to redshirt every freshman last year, but a lot of them played in 4 games. So this year, with the ability to play up to 5 games, that can only help us, and it really helps the individual player because sometimes, late in the year you get thin, you get short on bodies at certain positions, and 99% of the times the players are so unselfish. They'll tell you, "I'll do whatever I need to do to help the team," but sometimes that doesn't help that individual in the long run. This new rule made a lot of sense. It helps the players, and ultimately, I believe it'll help the program in the long run. Look at the quality of players that we had the ability to redshirt last year, and you fast forward yourself 4 years down the road, that maturity will pay off. It will help. If you just look at our team this year, one of the reasons why I felt comfortable and confident going into the year is not only the senior leadership and experience, but you look at the junior class and the leadership and the experience in the junior class as well. And that's where, you have the ability to make some strides within your program.
Okay, next question is Josh Moore. Go ahead, Josh.
Mark, I know Terry's kind of the big one. Everybody's very excited to get back out there, but there's a few guys that were out in the spring. I'm most curious about Isaiah Epps. I know he's a guy that kind of had a hard time last year throughout, but any update on him and any of those other guys that were held out of spring? Nick Scalzo, another one. I know Volley, Fitzgerald, another big one.
Yeah, those guys are all getting better. Nick's not totally 100% cleared yet. With Nick, I want to be very smart and cautious with him. We have some depth at the quarterback position this year. He's coming off 2 knee surgeries in back-to-back years, and I want to really give him the opportunity to heal up. He's so anxious and ready to get out there at any given time. Same thing with Boulay. He wants to be out there, but we'll be cautious and make sure he's at 100% and ready to go. So who's the other one we talked about? Oh, Isaiah. Isaiah's getting better. He's had some issues. It's been a problem. There's no denying that, with the foot. But we feel like we're on the right track. He's certainly getting better and healing up properly. And really excited to see him get back out there. I know he is as well.
Okay, Dave Baker up next. Dave. Dave, you there? If not, we'll go to Dick Gabriel. Dick, go ahead, please.
Mark, one of the areas where you're developing depth is linebacker. Could you talk a little bit about the young guys who may get an opportunity there? And is there any update on Chris Oates?
Yeah, Chris is obviously,
Hey, Mark, long-time listener, first-time caller. A couple of scheduling questions. What did you think, first of all, when you got the 2 new opponents?
Not sure what's going on here.
Hey,
We have some
and
technical
then
difficulties here.
Hey, Buzz, hang on a second. You jumped in right in the middle of another question from Dick. We'll put you back in right after Dick. So Dick, go ahead with your question again, please. We'll just re-roll on that.
You got me now, Tom?
Hang on, let me turn off his.
Hello, Tom.
Hang on, let me get you turned off here.
Different world we're in right now, right?
Yep.
Is it my turn?
Okay, Dick, go ahead, please.
All right. Yeah, Coach, I was wondering about the depth at linebacker and some of the young guys who might get an opportunity to play. And is there any update on Chris Oates?
Yeah, Chris is doing better. He definitely has a long road to recovery. He has moved to a rehab facility. That's all I really want to touch on that out of respect to Chris and his family. But we are certainly always praying for Chris, the whole team, and we want to recognize and honor him at some point. But he's certainly battling and getting better. As far as the other guys with opportunity, coming out of spring, you heard me talk about Jamin. We really feel like Jamin is taking a step forward. Obviously, DeAndre is coming back with quite a bit of experience. Jared Casey is a guy we moved back inside. He's a guy coming out of high school. That was hard for us to determine exactly where he best fit because he had the ability and the natural playmaking ability to play inside or outside. We have a need inside right now. So Jared's going to move inside, and we'll see how he does. I like his progression so far. Bembry's another guy that's a big person and has that length we're looking for. So Bembry's inside as well, and we'll see how he does. And then you got De'Aaron Jackson, and then Torrance Davis is a late addition to our class. Most of you know Torrance was a two-way player. He could play linebacker or running back. And with our need at inside linebacker, Torrance agreed to start inside. So we're happy to add Torrance to our roster out of Cleveland, and very versatile player with a lot of playmaking ability.
Thank you.
Next to John Hale. Go ahead, John.
Hey, Mark, can you just give us kind of an idea of how many in-person classes your guys are actually taking right now? And have you given them any more guidelines about interacting with the general student body now that everybody's back on campus?
Yeah, I'll know more about that. To be totally honest with you, we were working through that. Our Dan Brezowitz was trying to keep me informed. He was meeting with academic advisors. That's a bit of a fluid situation. I know most of our freshmen are in person. Some of our upperclassmen, they have to go to class, yesterday and today, and we'll have a little bit more clarity on that this week as far as what classes are in person. Do they have the ability to do that virtually or online? So we'll know more and more about that. I can't give you a specific answer on that today, John. What was the second part of that question?
Have you given them any sort of additional guidelines just about interacting with their fellow classmates and student body parties, all those kind of things that, are part of the college experience normally?
They've done a really good job to this point. And, they've got to continue to do that. Am I going to go out there and try to put a bunch of team rules in place? No, I'm not going to do that. But the leadership group of our team and myself will discuss that. And again, having the leadership that we have in our program, they'll enforce that amongst themselves. And we'll make sure, we continue to push that, talk about that. But as far as having specific curfews or tell them they could go here or there, that's not a reality that I want to undertake. I mean, as far as staying away from the big parties and big groups, of course they know they cannot do that. But they also have to have some balance in their life as well.
All right, and our last question, we've hit our time limit. Last question is from Kent Spencer. Kent, go ahead, please.
Yeah, Mark, this seems to be a kind of a topic every year as the season gets going. But what's your thought about the wide receiver group? Obviously, circumstances kind of took them out of the offense last year when went at quarterback. But how good do you feel about this group heading into 2020?
Yeah, I feel really good. I know they've worked exceptionally hard. Josh Ali's a guy that jumps out at me that I expect to have a big year. I felt like he was set to do that a year ago, and circumstances changed. But Josh has worked really, really hard. Cleavon, is another guy that I feel like has really been a great leader, worked really hard. And I feel like Cleavon is set to have a big year as well. We need Bryce to emerge. Bryce is a big, strong guy that can emerge outside, that we need him to have some playmaking ability. There's quite a few guys. Tate, redshirted a year ago, but he's shown some flashes here this summer. So I feel good about the group as a whole. I feel like there's quite a few players that could emerge. And we'll give you more of that feedback as camp goes on, because we'll see who jumps out at us. But as a group, I feel good about it.
Folks, thank you very much. We've got our time limit for today. We'll remind you, Susan has sent out information. We will have Coach Gran and 3 offensive players after practice today. And we'll have Coach White and a couple of defensive players on Thursday. And then we will send you the schedule out as it evolves after that. So thank you very much. Appreciate you being on today. All righty. How'd that feel compared to when you got a room full of people?
Not much different.
Oh, really? I thought it felt different.
Well, it's different, but we've done enough of these. So,
yep.
It's been my world the last 4 months.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yep.
That all true. No doubt. All right, Coach. Hey, thank you. Hey.
Thank you, Mr. Gorman.
Yep. That always take that down.
Hey, Tony, you're not on mute.